Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Johnny Disc Golf back again, and this time I am joined by the king of the north himself, Mr. Cale Leiviska. How we doing, buddy?
Hey Corey, doing great, buddy. I appreciate the title, but I'm down in the southeast right now, so I'll have to give up my title to somebody up in Minnesota for a couple months.
Well, I was gonna ask, like, how's the off season been? And even before we get into that, how's the morning been? I know it's been a little hectic for you. Is the car battery working okay?
Yes, well, so my wife and daughter and cats and we drove down to Charleston here in the RV. We made a pit stop in Arkansas, and so my buddy let me borrow one of his vans, and this morning we had the battery go out, but we got her fixed, and we're back on the road. It's all good.
Good to hear too. You mentioned you're down in Charleston. That's quite a ways away from Minnesota. Did I see that you were in the RV, the big airborne RV, all the way down through the country? You're not touring for disc golf, but it kind of had that same feel.
Yeah, so I had a couple different course design jobs come up. I kind of scheduled them for the off season so I could kind of make it work to take a little work vacation with the family. But we loaded up the RV, the 2-month-old baby, two cats, and pretty much everything that the baby could possibly need into this RV. And we drove down to Arkansas where I did course design at this beautiful, beautiful property called Camp Winnemucca down in Arkadelphia, Arkansas. Just amazing property. We were able to stay there for 4 days and get that job done. And then, yeah, we headed further southeast down to Georgia where I hung out with the Shoestricks for a couple days. I got to go to the Prodigy factory and warehouse a few days ago. And then, yeah, from there, we made it down here to Charleston. We're staying on this little island called Folly Beach where we stayed last year. Pretty much like a block away from the ocean. So we can go shark tooth hunting every day. It's a beautiful place down here. As you can
Uh,
see in the background, it's a beautiful sunny day. And at home in Minnesota, I see all my friends posting from Halloween pictures yesterday. A lot of people trick-or-treating out in the snow and stuff. So
mm-hmm.
we feel very lucky to be down here.
Yeah, I have a couple of friends who moved from San Francisco up to Vermont, and same thing. All the social media is like first snow of the year, and like you, I literally just moved in this new place in San Francisco. I'm 2 blocks from the ocean, so like, bit of a place of privilege. It feels great to be here. You've been kind of Charleston has been like a off season. Is this 2 years now? 3 years? Is this going to be a staple for you? What's the connection between you and Charleston?
I hope it will be a staple. My wife and I really just love this area. It's kind of hard to explain for people that haven't been down here. I try to tell all my friends in Minnesota, it's just like the people down here are so nice and friendly and welcoming. We obviously love it on the ocean, but there's something just kind of different about the ocean here. There's all these, that everything is really affected by the tides here. So
Mm-hmm.
there's like these tidal marshy areas that kind of like fill in with water, and then you'll see it later in the day, and it's just like grassland. There's dolphins swimming everywhere. We're on this little island where we pretty much just take our golf cart everywhere, and it's pretty easy living. And yeah, we like it down south. So we did come here last year for the first time and stayed for a couple of months. And my wife, we had our baby on August 24th, so my wife doesn't have to go back to work until right after the new year. So we thought, let's hop in the RV and let's do it again this year.
Perfect. Yeah, nice little way to relax and really spend like some quality time with the family. You mentioned it. You just had your first child. You've toured all across the country, played disc golf all around the world, a lot of crazy adventures. This, I'm sure you would agree, is the craziest adventure of the bunch. Talk about those first 2 months. What's it been like? This is life. Like, how is it?
This is life. This is a whole new life, a whole different perspective, obviously. It's been amazing. It's been a lot. You know, it's been more than I could have ever imagined, honestly. I'm so lucky to have such an amazing wife, Victoria, who's been just so great with the baby, so patient. Um, I consider myself a pretty good father so far, but when the baby has a tough fussy moment, she's screaming, I kind of lose my way a little bit and get a little frustrated. But my wife just tells me to leave the room. She's got it, and she's just been amazing. But yeah, our baby, we had her on August 24th, so she's just over 2 months now. Um,
Wow.
She's an absolute trooper. We're in love with her. She made it across the country like it was
Yeah.
no problem at all. So it was very impressive. I'm just lucky that we can, travel the country like this and be safe and make it down here and kind of get to show her the ocean the last couple days has been very special.
Yeah, I mean, it helps to have just an absolute warrior as a wife. Like your wife's awesome, no question there. What's been the most surprising thing for you in fatherhood? Has it been like the sheer volume of diapers? Has it been how difficult it is? How incredibly easy it's been? What's the biggest surprise for you?
No, definitely not how incredibly easy it's been. I'd say probably exactly the opposite. People always talk about how hard it is, to be a parent, especially right away. And one thing I've learned is that I can do a lot of stuff very tired because that first month we were not sleeping a lot. But it's the first time for both Victoria and I, and we're really just we're getting better every single day, learning some tricks here and there. I know I've been kind of texting with Macbeth, who just had a baby too, just being like, hey, if you need any tips, please, I'm here for you because there's a lot of stuff that I wish I would have known
Yeah.
from the get. But no, it's just it's unbelievably hard, just caring for this other person full time. I've been pretty selfish with my time for the first 40 years of my life, so having this other being fully dependent on us has been so difficult, and but it's so rewarding. If I'm having a tough day with her, she's fussing, and then all she's got to do is just look up at me and smile a little bit and just melt away, really.
I'm actually glad that you mentioned your first 40 years. You know, how do you turn 40 and then you have a child, right? It's slightly, I would say, slightly older than the
Yeah.
traditional timeline that people are going by. How do you feel now having your first child? Do you feel like, man, what was I waiting for? I could have done this 10 years ago. Do you feel like you're perfectly on your timeline and you feel like this is rocking? Like, where do you stand with that?
Yeah, that's a good question because yeah, most of my friends and family, started having kids in their 20s, early 30s, so I'm definitely like far behind most of them, but I don't know. I think, a lot of my friends also don't have the same kind of lifestyle. This disc golf lifestyle and world that I've been living in essentially since college has been, my livelihood, my career, my love, my passion. And I really needed to be selfish there for all those years and travel and have the time to do all the stuff that I was able to do and kind of set me up to be where I'm at now. And I just feel like, you know, Victoria and I weren't even sure we wanted kids, to be honest. We were just like, we both, love traveling so much. And,
Mhm.
but when this came about, and it's been the best thing that's ever happened to us. It's only been 2 months, but I can't even imagine my life any differently now. So I feel very lucky that I was able to live the way I did for so long and kind of do all the things I wanted to do. And now that we have a baby, I'll be able to share all that I've learned with her. So I think it's been a good journey for the both of us, for Victoria and I.
Yeah, I bet, man. I remember, I don't know, probably 6 months ago at this point, maybe even a little more, running into you and you telling me that you're going to be a father. And it's crazy to see a lot of these disc golf folks who have been in the game for so long start to take that next life step. You, Paul, there's several people getting married. Like that whole era of touring is really taking that next step in their life. And honestly, just from a humanity level, it's so great to see. Just it's easy to get caught up in that rhythm of going to events, and all of a sudden it's been 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and I don't know. There's more to life than just going to Emporia and Peoria every year for however
Right.
many years in a row. So it's just good to see the journey, man. And I appreciate you, and I'm glad that you're enjoying it as well.
Yeah. Thanks,
So
buddy.
you mentioned that you had taken these years and set yourself up to be able to do something like this and live fairly comfortably and take a trip to Charleston and do that whole thing. Part of that has been the course design element of your career. As the play enters the master's age, you've really flourished as. I mean, I don't know the specifics in the North, but like it seems like you're the premier guy to go to when you're putting in a course in that general area. Could you speak to that like transition or that development in your career and maybe how satisfying that's been over the past handful of years?
Yeah, I'd love to. It's for me, playing will always be like, my number one passion, right? Like I want to compete as much as I can. yeah, I still it still kills me to be watching Disc Golf Network and watching these biggest events and not be there. But at the same time, it's like the last 5 6 years, this my course design business has really just gone from a place where I'm doing small city jobs around Minnesota, which I still enjoy doing to this day. But to see like where it's come after COVID, and once the preserve was established, and now the opportunities are here for me in Arkansas, and then I'm going to be doing a course design down here in South Carolina next week. Like these opportunities, it's just it's incredible. Like I just feel so fortunate that this is where disc golf is, and I happen to be involved in this game at the right time to be in a position to do these designs everywhere. And it's just I love playing so much, but I'm 40 years old now, and I'm realistic. I know I don't have 20 great years of competitive disc golf in me. So I'm really trying to find that balance right now of playing the tournaments that I want to play and still putting in 5 to 6 course designs a year. So it's really going to be important for me the next like 4 or 5 years to be like, all right, lay out at the beginning. These are like the 7 8 national events I want to play, and then kind of sprinkle in the course designs when I can. And
Hmm.
it's pretty cool. These opportunities happening out of state. It used to be like a regional thing, and now it's happening more and more. So I'm really glad that like my design is getting recognition and that people enjoy my courses. And I'm actually in January going to be going on to Colombia to do a course. So it'll be, well, I did a couple in Canada so far, but this will be my first, one down in Central America. So these
Wow.
opportunities I'm just so blessed to be able to have. And I definitely don't take it for granted. When someone hires me to come down to a different state and do their design, I put everything I have into it.
Hmm.
It's all I focus and care about for that week. And yeah, I want to do this forever. This is something that I know I could do for the rest of my life, and I really enjoy doing it. So I'm really trying to run with it.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously everybody knows the preserve, but it makes sense. You've got the name recognition, disc golf, you're in a great area, you're getting national, international recognition now, but, I would imagine there's going to be gigs for as long as time exists at this point. Um, you're wearing the sweatshirt right now, the Hollows. You've rebranded. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. This used to be Vision Quest, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Okay, so I know the like legend of that course
You
and that
never been there
property.
though?
I've never actually been there myself. So when I saw you on social media, kind of talking about it and rebranding it, and I was just so excited. And then I saw some of the land that you were working with. It looks incredible. I can't wait to get out there myself. Talk about the project. Talk about maybe the history of Vision Quest and this journey now to create the Hollows.
Yeah. Excuse me. I would love to. So Vision Quest, you know, okay, the Vision Quest project started in 2015. There's a landowner named Mike Rivard who is
Mm-hmm.
like best friends with Ray Jordan, who's the owner of Blue Ribbon Pines. So Blue Ribbon Pines, for those of you who don't know, is one of like the top 10 disc golf courses in the world. They were the first pay-to-play private course in Minnesota and kind of set the stage for everything that we've been doing now. So, and this guy had a beautiful piece of property and he wanted help doing a design for his disc golf course. So in 2015, I was contacted about doing the design for this. This was like one of my earlier designs.
Mm.
So we went out there. It was like there's a wooded section and an open section, and he said, "Hey, there's no limits here. We can dig ponds out. We can do whatever we want to do." So there's an area in the front when you pull in that was just completely flat, and within like 4 weeks of us being there was two big ponds dug out. He had built up all these mounds for baskets to go on. Just an amazing project to work on. So the Vision Quest was born in 2015, and
Mm-hmm.
it was just a unbelievable project, unbelievable course. Around Minnesota, it was super popular and
Mm-hmm.
famous for a few years. And the owner of the property kind of he had a bunch of other business opportunities that he was getting into, and he kind of let the Vision Quest kind of go. It was starting to get overgrown, and it wasn't being taken care of as well. So by about 2020, when the COVID boom hit, Vision Quest had already pretty much been eliminated. No one really went out there anymore. It was kind of grown over. So by the time the COVID kind of boom hit in 2020, all these new disc golfers had never even been out to Vision Quest,
Yeah.
but they kind of always just like heard of the legend of the place. Um, so 2023 rolls around. I'm about 2 months out from my due date for our baby, and the a new guy bought the property that the course was on, and he wants to eventually develop into some homes, but he doesn't want anything to do with disc golf. He doesn't know anything about it, so he was kind of given my contact, and he reached out, and I went out and met the guy and kind of talked to him about the future and what we wanted to do. And I said, he asked if we were interested in kind of, getting the course back going and running it as a business. And I said, I think we could take this on as long as we were given a couple years to do it. I don't want to just come in and have it be
Yeah.
open for 6 months and then have to shut it down because it was gonna need a lot of work. So we went in, we came to an agreement. He gave us a lease through 2024, and he said that likely we can get it beyond that, but eventually it will be developed into homes out there. So I said, okay, let's do it. So my business partner Tom Odegaard, we call him Odie,
Yep.
he runs my airborne tour with me. He lives like 15 minutes from the course, and he was all in. He's like, let's do it. He's also a builder, so he got to work right away on building us up a beautiful pro shop, and I kind of got to work on the course, just cleaning it up. We had tons of help. A lot of great volunteers came out and helped us clean up the tee pads and weed whip. And we pretty much put like 4 weeks straight of work into this place. And then I had to go through the city processes of getting all the permits and stuff updated, which we were able to do luckily. And they kind of fast tracked us on that. And we got the place in the beginning of August, and we were open at the beginning of October. So 2 months we pulled it off. The pro shop is now open.
Wow.
It's been an unbelievable project, and like, gosh, we've been open for like 4 weeks now. I think we've already had like 700-800 people out there.
Oh
It's
my
been
God.
incredible, dude. Like, it's been incredible. The amount of support, the people that like, the amount of people that have come back. And you'll have to come up next time you're in Minnesota, because
I
like
would
the
love to.
property, it's just special. There's like a open section with ponds that's all beautiful, and then you get back in the woods where it's
Hmm.
super peaceful and private. um it's just a beautiful disc golf property, and we're like, we're really lucky to have had this opportunity to get it back open.
Well, what is the if you go to play the course, what is the experience of playing the course relative to like those first few years at Vision Quest? Is it more or less like the same layout? Have you adjusted it at all? How does it play?
Yeah, so um there was a small amount of the property that we're not able to use anymore because it kind of got parceled off and sold a little bit. So we had to adjust a couple of the first two holes. But then beyond that, there was like six of the holes in the woods that there was a couple random trees in the middle that I always wanted to get rid of. There was a couple things I wanted to tweak here and there. And now that the property became ours, I was able to do stuff like that. So we redesigned half the course. So nine of the
Wow.
holes are tweaked. Nine of the holes are the same. So if you played the old Vision Quest course, you still have nine of your classic holes that you get to play and enjoy. And then nine of the more technical ones are the ones I wanted to tweak a little bit. So um but yeah, we definitely still have a lot of work to do. But we wanted to get it open for the rest of this year. We're probably going to shut it down in about a month,
Hmm.
probably at the end of November, and then really put a bunch of work into it in like February, March, and then do like a grand opening in April. But
Ah.
but yeah, it's fun. Yeah, we kind of rebranded it as the Airborn Disc Golf Hollows, and we made a cool pro shop with like a lounge area and a big wraparound deck with porch swings and stuff. It's really a really cool place.
Where did the name the Hollows come from? It's honestly great. It's in that same like vein as the Preserve, the Hollows, like a very simple kind of iconic name that somebody can say. Where did that come from?
Well, with the preserve already so established, like that's the Airborne Disc Golf Preserve. I was like, we got to really stay along that theme of like my private courses, because eventually I want to have more, and have like a beautiful place up in northern Minnesota that I actually own. But
Mm.
so I was gonna call it Airborne Disc Golf something. And in the fall when we got it, all these apple trees were just blooming everywhere. So every time we're out there working, we're just picking apples and eating them the
Ah.
whole time. So it was about to be called the Orchard, the Airborne Disc Golf Orchard. And I actually even had like had logos being made up, and I was about to make my post about the place. And I just was like, I was just not feeling it. I was like, I think we can do better. And literally, as I'm like typing up my post to kind of announce about the property, I just was like running through my mind about what to do, and the Hollows just like popped into my head, and I like called my partner to see what he thought about it, and he was like, "Yes, that's it. It's the Hollows." So that was it.
Yeah, it honestly, I really like the name. I mean, especially when you tell me Orchard to Hollows. I think you made the right choice. Like, I think it rings true. And honestly, I would love to come up there and check it out next time I'm in the area. So, super looking forward to that. Um, Enough with the off the course stuff. I want to talk to you a little bit about your on the course action play this year this past year and maybe moving forward. You mentioned it. You're 40 years old now. That means that you are officially, well, as of this past year, officially Masters eligible. What has that been like? I believe last year was your first year playing the age protected majors.
Yeah.
You were one stroke off of becoming the U.S. Masters champion, or one or two. It was very close in the end. I don't know exactly, but
Wow.
exactly one stroke. So, talk about that experience last year and just maybe aging into that Masters division compared to playing with all these young bucks.
Yeah, it's kind of a trip, man. Like I remember being in my mid-20s and being like, "Oh, I'll never play Masters. No chance. I'll play Open forever. When I'm done playing Open is when I'll quit." But as you start hitting the mid-30s and start getting lower back pains and hip pains and stuff, you quickly realize, once you hit the age 40, you've earned the right to to have the option to play in this new division. But it's been really fun, man.
Yeah.
The best way I can describe it, it kind of feels like going back to the roots of playing tournaments when I first started playing disc golf in like my early 20s. Honestly, it's a little bit more of like a community camaraderie feel. A lot of the people that I'm playing with have been playing for 20 plus years.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I don't love, the pro tour and stuff and like all these youngins coming into play, but it's just like it kind of feels, the spirit of the game is super strong in the Masters field. I've really been enjoying that. And honestly, the competition is amazing. Like
Yeah.
there's a part of me that was like, yeah, I'll be able to just come into this division and get some easy wins. But I think I played like 5 Masters events this year and I had one kind of easy win. The other
Yeah.
four, I was battling to the end whether I won or lost. So it's like, the competition's getting better in all the younger divisions and the older, that's for sure. But it's been fun. Like I was surprised at how good the money is in MP40,
Yeah.
honestly. Like if you look at my stats, I was looking the other day, I played like 15 MPO events this year and I think I won like 15 grand in PDJ and I played like 5 MP40 events and I won like 15 grand.
What?
I'm not kidding. It's
Wow.
like the money is like I was like super impressed. I'm like, this is something that I can actually, make sustainable. So
Mm-hmm.
there's as more and more like kind of like MPO players move up in MP40, I really look forward to seeing that division grow as well. It's been fun.
Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that because that's kind of like next on my list of things I wanted to touch on. The DGMT, Disc Golf Masters Tour, Cale McMoran is kind of putting that together. This year was its first year. They had a lot of great events. I wasn't super locked into how each one of them was running, but is that something that you see as sustainable? Is there a future in that? Is that something you're looking to like lean into? How do you feel about that?
You know, I think for Callie, it's definitely sustainable. She's such a hard worker. I really
Mm-hmm.
respect her a lot. If you don't know Callie, she rolls in with a huge RV and has these
Yeah.
vast grand setups for every event that she does.
Mm-hmm.
And so, for her Masters events, she also allows amateur Masters divisions where she can, make some money off the merch and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. So I really hope it is sustainable for her. I told her I'd support her in anywhere I can. If she wants to do an event at the Preserve or the Hollows next year, that I'd be all on board to do it. As far as like for a Masters player playing week to week, going to each tour, I'm not sure that's sustainable yet, just because like a lot of them were smaller B tiers. But
Mm-hmm.
I think it's great that she just had her finals a couple weeks ago in North Carolina. I heard it was just a well-run event, a lot of added cash. I would have loved to have played that. I was bummed that I couldn't make it, but I think for year one, I really hope that I don't know how her finance looked for the tour, but I really hope it went well for her and it's something that she kind of keeps snowballing and making better because, yeah, like I said, in 10 years, what's the MP40 field going to look like?
Yeah.
It's going to be some of the best ever disc golfers to play the game and it'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, that whole generation, Paul, Rick, yourself, like, I mean, I'm thinking specifically yourself and Philo playing down at that US Masters. Like,
Yeah.
these are fan favorite players, that are going to be playing in that division. So it's going to be interesting as time goes on, especially as more and more of these 16, 17-year-olds come in that throw 700 feet and play every single day for 10 hours. Like, it's going to be maybe a little appealing to play in those Masters divisions. So I think Callie's got something on her hands there. Curious to
I
see how it
agree.
shakes out,
I
though.
heard I heard Sexton when I was with him earlier this year being like, "Dang, you beat me to Masters." I'm jealous because he sees the, obviously this young talent coming into the game is just unbelievable. But yeah, for me personally, it's kind of cool to like the week before I left, there was a non-sanctioned event in Minnesota, and they had like 15 MPO players and 21 MP40. So I was like, all
What?
right, well, that's an easy decision right there.
That's
So
like NorCal. It kind of feels like NorCal. Like there's so many OG disc golfers out here. Like I feel like we have one of the strongest like MP50 divisions in the country, just because there's
you guys
all
do.
those. Yeah, there's all those OG disc golf guys out here.
You guys do, yeah. And I'm gonna, I want to play in the disc golf pro tour as long as I possibly can, and I always will at some events, like where distance isn't a huge advantage,
Yeah.
like Waco
Yep.
or Idlewild, stuff like that. But yeah, for now it's kind of fun to have the option to pick and choose. I've been enjoying it.
Hey, you better watch out, man. Waco next year is going to 2 rounds at a golf course. So
That's what I heard. They all
yeah,
are.
I know. It's like I've. It's on a sidebar. I've never been. It's a weird time to be in disc golf, and I'm excited not to be going to every single event next year. I'll pick and choose just the good ones, or
Is
the
that
ones
what you're
that I like.
doing? You gonna be kind of just bouncing around?
Yeah, I'm gonna be touring a little less. I've got it just like you. I mean, I can't keep being on the road for all of my time. It just isn't fair to everyone involved in my life. So yeah, I'll definitely be represented at some events. The majors, like the West Coast ones. I love the Northeast. I'll always be at GMC and MVP. I got family out there, but yeah,
Nice.
I'm looking at, we just moved into a new house like in San Francisco in the city I love, and then I leave for 6 months out of the year. It's like, what,
I know.
what am I doing, dude?
Oh, that's tough. Seriously, I can't imagine, man.
Yeah. So it's all good though, honestly. Like it's been a great 5 year run on the road, but I'm super excited to be like a little bit more home based. I'm able to do things like this, doing the interviews with my friends, so like really no complaints. Back to the topic at hand, you and your opinion about the Player of the Year race. Uh,
Mm.
this is one of the most interesting, or not maybe interesting, but like least clear Player of the Year winner of the season. Most of the talk is on the top three: Gannon, Isaac, and of course Calvin. They all have their own arguments for why they might be Player of the Year. Is it consistency? Is it the biggest titles? Is it the most amount of wins? How do you stand, or where do you stand on that? And how do you feel like that's going to shake out?
That's a great question, and I actually just voted on that. We did, as being a disc golf pro tour card holder, I was able to just vote, and I think I just did that a few days ago. But it is a very compelling race, and there's like compelling arguments for both sides. I think
Mm-hmm.
for me, it's a clear two-horse race between Isaac and Calvin. I just like the year that Calvin had is so amazing. Like I think that he had like 15
Yeah,
podiums. I
insane.
mean, like that's like the consistency that he showed is so unbelievable and impressive with the talent pool these days. I mean, it's remarkable, but at the same time, Isaac won worlds and another major. So I'm totally torn, but I'm like I come from like a sporting background where like golf and tennis are huge to me. And I think about like if someone in tennis won Wimbledon and like the US Open or something, or if someone in golf won Masters and another major,
Yeah.
it would be hard for me to not vote for the person that won the two majors, including the biggest one, which is the World Championships. So in my mind, I would rather have the year that Isaac had than Calvin. So
Okay.
that's how I went with my vote. I would rather win the two majors, including the worlds. But again, I don't want to take anything away from Calvin. I feel bad even saying that because the year that he had is remarkable. But
Yeah.
if I could pick a year to have as a professional disc golfer, I would have chose Isaac's year.
Now, I may or may not agree with you. I'm not going to commit there, but I do know that I sent the email for this podcast to Cale at prodigydisc.com, and you did just choose the Prodigy player. So
It is true.
there may be some bias there. I'm not going to say, but
No, honestly, like I'm better friends with Calvin than I am
yeah.
Isaac, like, and I love both the guys, but I love Calvin. Like his commitment to the game is so inspiring to me. I just
Hmm.
love the man, but he won worlds in another major, and Calvin did not win a major, so that's where it is for me. And I truly think if I could pick a year to have, I would rather have
Yeah.
Isaac's year. That's how it went. And then not only that, I think Isaac got like third place at USDGC
Yeah.
too. I mean,
That's
he had
something
a
that we
great.
were talking about. We did an interview. I did an interview with Isaac before, kind of after Worlds, before the USDGC, and he felt like whoever had the best performance of the three of them at USDGC was probably going to end up winning the award. And neither of them really, not any three of them, were never in the mix to win,
No.
really. But Isaac did outperform the other two at the tournament, so there is something to be said about that, I think.
Yeah, I'm really curious to know like where the voting's gonna end up because like,
I
if
think it's gonna be
Calvin won,
close.
yeah, if
Yeah.
Calvin won, he's completely deserving as well. It's just kind of it's kind of just how much an individual values the majors.
Yeah.
And for me it's just kind of put him over the top a little bit in my mind.
Nah, I hear you. I think it's a good call too. I don't have a ton more for this interview, but one topic I did want to get your take on is content. What have you been watching? You've been like on a road trip, you've been doing course design, you've been raising a baby. I can imagine maybe there's not a ton of time to sit there and watch like a 10-hour series on Netflix or something like that. But
Mm.
has there been anything, any shows, any movies, anything that's piqued your interest over the last, I don't know, week, 2 weeks, month?
It's usually I would have just a much more in-depth answer for you, but having a 2-month-old baby, man, it's like if the baby goes to sleep and we don't have some stuff, dishes to clean up or bottles to clean or something, I just try to go to sleep, man. Like sleep to me is so valuable right now and I
Yeah.
need it. So maybe we'll put something on for a half hour before bed, but usually, like, once we get everything handled for the day, my wife and I get a half hour to ourselves and then go to sleep. I mean,
Yeah.
but um, I'm super excited for anything Game of Thrones. Always, I know like the the what is it? The
House of Dragon.
House
Yeah.
of Dragons. I think another season's coming out. I know I saw that there's like a Jon Snow
Mm-hmm.
spin-off series that's about to happen, so that's
Yep.
always exciting to me too. But I'm completely out of the loop, man. I'm embarrassed to say it.
Well, okay. I'll tag on to what you just said. One little note. I don't know. Maybe it's a big known fact. Maybe everyone knows this, but you give your discs names, or some of your discs names, and they have like awesome Game of Thronesian names like that. Could you talk about that, like your habit of doing that, and maybe some of the cooler names that you've given discs?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know when that started, but as a disc golfer, I don't know. Disc golf to me is such a special, like spiritual game. So many of my discs have been in my bag for 10 years, so it's like they kind of develop like a persona almost.
Uh huh.
So I started naming discs maybe like 10 years ago, and Game of Thrones had just come out, and I was obsessed with the show and the books. And so I started naming them all Game of Thrones characters. My favorite is probably my straightest M4. I named Needle after Arya's
Uh huh.
little small tiny sword. But now I still do name all my discs, but it's whatever book I'm reading at the time.
Mm.
Um, if I find a good book or quote that I'm really relating to or something, I might name my disc after the
Yeah.
author or the weapon or something. So I'm kind of all over the board now, but for me it's just habit now. I write my name on top and then I pick a name for the bottom, and it's
Mm.
just something I think I'll always do.
I love it. It's like you have like your kind of like fantasy novel show names. You got Matty O with his Alabama receivers. Everybody's got their own little brand that they're dealing with out there, and it's like so fun to watch and get to know. Um, Cale, that's about all I had for this interview. I really appreciate your time. I'm sure there's a child that needs caring for somewhere in the background. So thank you for taking the time. But I wanted to give you a chance to speak to the people at home, all the fans, all the people rooting for Mr. Cale out there. The floor is yours.
Nice. Well, yeah, Corey, it's great chatting with you as always. I appreciate you having me on. I'll do this every year if you want, but yeah, no, I guess the shout outs, I'd love to give a shout out to all my Minnesota folks. I know you're freezing up there in the cold. I'll be back in 2 months, and all the support that everyone gave us with the Hollows when we opened is just so inspiring, so encouraging. Odie and I are so grateful for all of you, and then yeah, to everyone down here in Charleston, South Carolina, I look forward to playing these events the next month or so, and thank you guys all for being so welcoming too, and for everyone supporting disc golf across the world. We appreciate you.
Well said, Cale, and of course, we all appreciate you too. That is about it for this interview. If you at home would like interviews with all of your favorite professional disc golfers, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel.